Okay, let's have a look at the roof command. The roof command is what we use when we want to obviously create roofs. And we have our very basic types of roofs like gable, hip, shed roof, which are very straightforward. But we also have, we could have unusually shaped roofs. So we would use a specific feature called roof by extrusion. So I'm going to go through several examples of each. And what I've created here is just a building. Didn't matter really what the dimensions were, but the walls do go from level 1 to level 2. So if I go to the level 2 plan, I can see just the top of those walls. And so in our architecture ribbon, we have our roof command. Roof by footprint, that's where we can select walls and create roofs or draw out perimeters of roofs to create our basic shapes, such as a gable roof. We have roof by extrusion, which allows us to create a profile of a roof and then extrude along a path using that profile. Then we have roof by face. So if we, I remember once we had a commercial design where they wanted a domed roof. So we would create a mass of a dome and then apply the roof to the mass. So that's what that does. And then we also have soffit, fascia, and gutter commands, which we're not going to cover today. So roof by footprint. So when you think of a roof, you need to think about, okay, does this edge of the roof begin sloping a slope upwards, or does it represent like a gable end where there is no actual slope to it? So if we look at our ribbon, we have a boundary line and slope arrow. We've got our sketching tools, we have our work plane tools, we have an align eaves option. So if we have multiple roofs that tie in together, we want the eaves to all line up neatly, we can use that feature. In our options bar, we've got a checkbox for define slopes. So when I go to pick a wall or sketch a line to represent the edge of the roof, does that indicate that that is the beginning of a slope upwards? Overhang, so when I pick a wall or sketch, how far beyond that wall or sketch line is the roof actually going to start? So if you think of a roof section, then the overhang would be how far the roof protrudes from the wall. And the checkbox for extend to wall core means, okay, that overhang is start at the exterior face of the structure, i.e. the studs, or the exterior finish. So I tend to like to have that checked off. Let's give this an overhang of 1 foot. And now I can go around and pick the walls. Now please note here that we have these flip arrows, which if it turns out the purple line that has appeared is on the wrong side of the wall, you can just fix it like that. And also, because this is defining a slope, what we have here is what the slope is going to be by default. Keep in mind we can change that at any time, so I'm going to leave it as 9/12. Pick here, here, pick here, and hit the check mark to complete. Now this looks a little odd. If we look at it in 3D, you can see we created a hipped roof, right? Each edge begins to slope upwards. But when you look at level 2, it doesn't look like a hipped roof, and that's because of the view range. Remember, the view range is the horizontal cut that the view, where the view will identify what it's cutting through. And in the view range, typically a default setting is 4 feet. And obviously the ridge of a hip roof is going to be much higher than that. So if this is going to be a roof plan, then I like to sort of set this to a value, the top of the primary range, to a number that's high enough that I know for sure that it's going to actually show that hipped roof. So let's say I didn't want a hip roof. Maybe I wanted a gable roof. So I could select my roof and edit footprint. So it brings me back to the same screen basically where we were creating the edges or defining the edges of the roof. But I can say, okay, this line does not indicate the beginning of a slope. So I can select it and then I can go up to the options bar and remove the check mark for define slope. Same with this, define slope. So I've unchecked that. So the gable roof will start here and go upwards, and here upwards and meet at a ridge right about here. So let's see what that looks like, right? So if we look at this in 3D, a bit of a problem, and you'll see that in default, Revit doesn't know that this wall should actually go up to the underside of the roof. It just doesn't know that until you tell it that that's what you want. So if you select the wall, you can use the attach top base feature and then pick the roof. And that will, it doesn't actually change the wall. As far as Revit is concerned, it's still a 20-foot tall or 10-foot tall wall. But now it is using, instead of the top boundary of the top constraint of the wall, it's using the underside of that roof. If I were to delete that roof, the walls revert back to their original height. Let me just undo that. So we have our roof. Also, I want you to note that, great, the gable ends look great, but if you take a look underneath here, see here, all walls really should be attached to the underside of the roof, even if it doesn't seem like they should. Okay. All right, so let's say we want a shed roof. Let's work actually in the 3D from this point forward. If I select the roof and edit footprint, if I say select this line and remove the define slope checkbox, now I have a shed roof. Obviously, the shed roof is very steep. Remember, the slope is 912. Well, working in 3D, we do have this dynamic grip, which lets us drag up and down the slope of that roof. And having done that, now what we can do is, if you look under properties, it tells you what the slope of the roof is at this point, so you can then now change it so that it is a little more sensible. And that really didn't work out so well. I should have done this 3 inches / 12 inches. There we go. So it's a 312 slope. And if you wanted a flat roof, well, you can select your roof, edit footprint, and then select the one line that represents the beginning of the slope, uncheck, and we now have a flat roof. So let me undo. I want to go back to when I had a gable roof. So I'm just going to use the undo command to take me back. There we go. And let's say I wanted to add a piece to this building. So let me go to the level 1 plan. And let's say I want to add some walls. Let's say here, to here, to here, to here. So again, looking at this in 3D, you can see where this, where these walls are in reference to the roof. So let's go to level 2 and let's add in this new roof. So this roof is going to be a 912 slope, and we're going to, let's see here, roof. We'll pick this and this so that the roof will slope upwards to the ridge. Then we'll uncheck define slope and pick this and I guess we'll have to sketch in this side. Oops, I made a mistake there because I didn't snap to the end. There we go. Hit the old check mark. Boom. Done. Not quite. If we look at this in 3D, we have a bit of an issue. And that is because these two roofs were created separately, right? This roof doesn't know that this roof is there. So we do have in the modify ribbon a command called join roofs. And so if you were to select one roof, select another roof, and of course I pick the wrong selection. So I pick this, and then I pick this. So I pick the edge that I need to extend, and then I pick the surface of the roof. And now we've got a nice connection of the roof. But you can see that that roof is still there in the background, and I need to, of course, use attach top base to fill this out. Now, that's what happens when you go and add in a second roof after you've already placed a first roof. I could have saved myself some trouble by, let me just delete this roof, and let's say I create both roofs at the same time. So I go to the roof command, and overhang is 1 foot. Define slope, I want this, actually no, I want this and this. Can't remember now which ones are which, so I'm just going to draw in all my lines. I'm going to break, it's right here. I need to have a closed shape, basically. So I want this to slope up from here up, here up, here up, here up. So that means that I need to have this, holding down the control key, this, 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 and this, identified as defining a slope. Hit the check mark. Now I have two gables tying into each other all in one step. This is great if it turns out when you're creating the roof that all these walls already exist. If we're doing an addition to a house where the existing gable roof was already there, but then you had to add a second gable roof for the new addition down here, then it would have been a different ball game. And of course, don't forget, attach top base. So, not too difficult. So, let's say you wanted to create an unusual type of a roof. For this example, I'm going to delete all the roofs plus this addition. I just want to focus on one side of the building. So let's say I'm going to get a little, I won't say creative. I'm going to get a little stupid with this. How does that sound? If I go to the roof command, roof by extrusion. First thing is, first thing you need to do is create a shape that you want to see extruded. And in order to be able to create the shape, you need to be able to have a surface or a plane on which to sketch what the profile is going to be. So if you want, this one doesn't have any named work planes, but if you pick a plane, you can pick a surface such as this wall right here. It's then going to ask you, okay, what level do you want to use as a base for your roof, and what will the offset from that level be? So I'm just going to accept the defaults here, okay? And now I can use my sketching tools to, like I said, I'm going to get stupid. So just to look at that in 3D. So I picked a plane, so you can see those purple lines all line up with the face of that wall. So I can hit escape, And now, if I hit the check mark, that's what that roof looks like. We can use dynamic grips to modify things like how far it projects. I would do this more precisely with dimensions and so on. Now, the only thing we need to do now is do what we did with the gable roofs, and that is, if we select a wall, attach top base, pick the roof. Select the wall, attach top base, pick the roof. Here I'm picking two walls, attach top base, pick the roof. And there it is. Isn't that beautiful? Now, if that is not the shape you want, you can select the roof and edit profile. So let's say I actually wanted to add a few arcs. Like so. That one didn't work out so well. There. So there I've changed the path, and I'm going to get rid of this little extra piece because that really doesn't make sense. But then again, you're creating a roof like that. How does it make sense? The check mark. Unjoin elements. Well, I think what that means is I just screwed it all up. So once if you go to a point where the modifications are extreme, and apparently this is extreme. I'm not sure exactly what is so extreme about it, but whatever I did would not allow me to complete the extrusion. I've seen situations where like tight arcs like this will do it. So let's say I delete that. Oh, can't have that. There we go. Ah, that was it. What do you know? I was right. So, yeah, this is another way of creating a roof. Exactly whether or not you would want to or need to really depends on the designer. So, in a nutshell, that's our roof command and the different options that are available.